Have you ever heard of a dragon that can camouflage itself and lie in wait for its enemies? Or one that waits hundreds of years in the depths of the ocean to finally start the Ragnarok? Dragons are known for their brawn rather than brains, but dragons wield great intelligence. The dragons on our list today have shown amazing skills to outwit their enemies and emerge victorious. Number 8. Jormungandr. Jormungandr, also known as the Midgard serpent or world serpent, is renowned for its humongous size, especially its tail. It comes from Norse mythology. The Jormungandr is the king of strategic attacks and disguises, but its strength lies in its patience. The Jormungandr is destined to kill the god Thor, leading to the Ragnarok, the end of the world. Jormungandr's cunning and intelligence shine through whenever he faces Thor. In one incident, Thor visits the giant Utgarda Loki's castle. To prove his strength, he tries to lift Loki's cat, but cannot. Loki informs him that the cat is actually Jormungandr in disguise. This makes Thor quite embarrassed. It also shows Jormungandr's clever ability to change forms and fool a god. In another incident, Thor goes fishing with Hymir, another giant. When he feels a tug on his fishing line, he starts pulling it in, but whatever is at the other end is strong and doesn't give in. Thor pulls so hard on the fishing line that his feet go through the boat. Finally, Jormungandr emerges on the surface of the water. Thor tries to kill him, but Hymir gets in the way. Jormungandr realizes it's not yet his time to attack, so he sinks back into the ocean. He waits hundreds of years for the Ragnarok to attack Thor because Jormungandr's patience is his leading quality. When he releases his tail, Ragnarok begins, and so does the final battle between Jormungandr and Thor. Number 7. Ladon. The Greek dragon Ladon is serpent-like with up to 100 heads. He's known as a clever and courageous dragon who uses his ability to camouflage himself and guard precious goods. It's usually portrayed as twisted and coiled around an apple tree in the Garden of the Hesperides. Its position symbolizes his role as a guardian of the apple tree. It also shows his cunning ability to camouflage himself. He hides, awaiting the arrival of any enemies. Because no one can see him, he can easily ambush and attack intruders. While trying to steal the apples, Hercules slayed Ladon, but this was no easy feat for Hercules. He had to fight the dragon tooth and nail to retrieve the apples. In another version of this myth, Hercules had to think of an alternative way to overcome Ladon. This was a very clever and witty dragon who had lots of war tactics up his sleeve. Hercules sent Atlas, the god who holds up the sky, to get the apples. Number 6. The White Dragon of Wales. In Welsh legends, the dragon stands for power and authority. Welsh tales describe two dragons, the red dragon and the white dragon. The red dragon represented the Welsh, while the white dragon represented the Anglo-Saxons. The white dragon was an intelligent breed of serpent. He had the tactical intelligence to fight the red dragon. He often used the trick of keeping the red dragon engaged in battle till he was tired, and then ambushing him. Both dragons were fighting a great battle between themselves. They fought underneath the exact spot where Vortigern, a great warrior, wanted to build his magnificent castle. Each day, he would start to build the castle, and each night, the dragons would destroy it. Vortigern became frustrated and decided to free the dragons underneath his land. When the land was dug up, the dragons were freed. They surfaced and continued their battle. The white dragon used clever techniques, like pretending to be wounded, and quickly pounced on the red dragon when he was off guard. He lured the red dragon to his lair by hiding. When the red dragon came close, he attacked him with his barbed tail and claws. Since dragons are territorial creatures, they both fought viciously. In the end, the red dragon succeeded. To date, the Welsh use the red dragon to symbolize their courage and strength. Number 5. The Dragon King of the South Sea. In Chinese mythology, the Dragon King of the South Sea, known as Long Guang, is a powerful dragon. He is an exceptionally clever dragon with almost human-like intelligence and planning abilities. When the Dragon King is happy with the human race, he causes rainfall, which is beneficial for crops. He can also show his anger by causing droughts or thunderstorms, sea storms, and tornadoes. The Dragon King can also shapeshift. He is known to appear in a human form as an old man or warrior. He uses this power to manipulate innocent people to his wishes. The Dragon King strikes deals with farmers and fishermen to his advantage. He demands sacrifices and threatens to limit rain or cause bad weather. This can lead to low harvest for farmers and low fishing haul for fishermen. The Chinese pray to the Dragon King and conduct the dragon dance annually to please him. If pleased, he creates favorable weather conditions for their crops, but if he is unhappy about the sacrifices, the people will face his wrath. He can twist his words, deny his previous statements, and stop all favors and kindness. He would completely ignore his agreements and cause such a low harvest that the people could starve. Number 4. Fafnir. Fafnir is the central character in one of the most popular pieces of Norse folklore. The legend goes that Fafnir was originally a dwarf. His brother, Otter, was killed by the god Odin. When Fafnir's father found out, he was devastated. As compensation, Odin gave enough gold to their father to fill Otter's body. When Fafnir found out about the gold, greed overtook him. He wanted the gold for himself, so he killed his father and stole all the gold. Over time, his greed and the desire to guard his gold turned him into a dragon. Morphing into a dragon was a clever move on Fafnir's part. It showed his determination to guard the gold he'd acquired after a tough struggle, but it also shows how Fafnir was a ruthless dragon. Only a creature with a heart of stone could kill their own father. Everything he did was planned with cunning, intelligence, and scheming. Number 3. Hydra. The Lernaean Hydra, or Hydra, was a Greek water dragon with 9 heads, one of which was immortal. The Hydra lived in the depths of Lake Lerna, where it guarded the door to the underworld. The marshes of the Lerna allowed it to stay hidden from its enemies. The terrain was impossible for humans to cross, and the Hydra used this to ambush any intruders. Hercules was given the task of killing this dragon, but it was an especially difficult mission because the Hydra's breath and blood were both so toxic that anyone who came too close could die. If it bit its enemy, the poison would spread through their body, leading to death. In fact, after Hercules killed it, he dipped his arrows in its bile to make them poisonous too. Hercules attempted to kill the Hydra by chopping off all its heads, but this led to the discovery of the Hydra's most startling feature, the ability to grow new heads. Every time Hercules chopped off a single head, 2 new heads grew in its place. The Hydra was so clever that Hercules had to change his strategy. He attacked the Hydra with his nephew. As Hercules chopped off a Hydra's head, his nephew burnt it to stop any regrowth. Finally, Hercules beheaded the immortal head and crushed it under a large rock. The Hydra remains Greek mythology's finest foe. It represents the mountainous challenges one faces daily that must be dealt with restraint and persistence. Number 2. Yamato no Orochi. The Yamato no Orochi, simply known as Orochi, is a ferocious 8-headed and 8-tailed dragon from Japanese folklore. This dragon was a master manipulator. He tormented the local people of Japan by demanding women as sacrifices. By terrorizing them, he wanted to rule over the region. Spreading fear was the easiest way to manipulate the population. Every year, he would return to take away one woman as a sacrifice. When the storm god, Susanoo, was thrown out of heaven, he met an old couple crying inconsolably. They said Orochi demanded one of their 8 daughters as a sacrifice from them. They were now down to their last daughter, Kushinada. Susanoo requested their daughter's hand in marriage in return for slaying the dragon. The couple agreed. Susanoo first turned Kushinada into a comb. Then he proceeded to place 8 vats of Japanese alcohol called sake at the 8 gates to the couple's home. Now they all waited. When the dragon arrived, the 8 heads drank all the alcohol in the vats and became intoxicated. Soon it fell asleep, and this was when Susanoo sprung into action. He beheaded all the heads of the drunk dragon. Then he chopped its body into small pieces. When he reached the 4th tail, his sword broke. Upon taking a closer look at the dragon's tail, Susanoo found the Kusanagi no Tsurugi, a legendary sword that became part of Japan's royal family. Number 1. Kulshedra. At the end of our list of cunning dragons is a demonic she-serpent from Albanian mythology. This terrifying dragon has multiple heads and a body covered in red hair that extends across the earth. She manipulates the weather, the earth, the sun, and the moon and causes all sorts of natural disasters such as earthquakes, storms, wildfires, water shortages, and droughts. These are all tactics to get the sacrifice she wants. She can also shapeshift into a woman. In the human form, she shows kindness to mask her evil. She can deceive people easily in the form of a human. This is a clever technique to hide her true wicked identity. The hydra is a controlling and egoistic demon. To spread fear amongst the people, she demands the sacrifice of several children, both girls and boys. If she were pleased with the sacrifices, she would not cause any natural disasters. But if unsatisfied, she would punish the humans by bringing about the worst weather conditions. If you enjoyed this detailed video about dragons, check out our other videos about the most awe-inspiring mythological creatures.